It starts tomorrow. I'm your host, Steve Van Metre, and thanks for joining me today. And our lead story today, that nightmare continues as investors brace for this week's market shockwaves. And what I want you to understand is we're seeing investors and speculators and wholesalers from all over the world pile into U.S. equities looking for the next big bull market. And yet we continue to see stocks hammered by machine selling. And now we're facing an all-out war in the Middle East that could send volatility spiking and stocks crashing with it. And that's why every week we like to go through this machine positioning, the technicals, and the momentum of the broad equity, bond, commodity, and currency markets to help you be positioned for what's coming. And we have a sponsor for today's show, Brent Miller Energy, on the NASDAQ under the symbol BNRG. They're a carbon-free thermal energy storage company. And as with all our sponsors, we love to show you how to trade their stock. There's a bunch of accumulation going on in the supply zone right now that could send their stock up by as much as 31%. Stay tuned to the end of the show or check out the pinned comment or description for more information. Now, let's head over to Morgan Stanley. Well, we picked today's story up. We're going to start with the bear case. This is from Morgan Stanley's Wilson, and this guy's one of the best out there as he sees U.S. stocks on a boom, bust, boom path. But the problem is, he's seeing the bust right now. And he's saying the downward slide in U.S. equities after the market peaked in July is set to continue with catalysts for more declines already in place. This according to the prominent equity bear who was ranked, get this, #1 in last year's institutional investor survey after correctly predicting the 2022 stock sell-off. His high-end target for the S&P 500 implies about a 10% drop from current level. So here you can see Morgan Stanley making the bear case that stocks are overvalued. But what is going to change at the end of this week that could send stocks a whole lot higher? Well, stay tuned. Now let's head over to Goldman when we pick up the tactical flow of funds report, who's saying, wait a minute, we don't agree with Morgan here. We see a bullish setup developing here. Let's take a look at the machine positioning. This out, of course, from Goldman's desk. They estimate $253 billion. That's a big number worth of global stocks to buy in an uptape, which is the largest number you can recall. And over the next week, we're looking at a flat tape, $6 billion to sell. That's nothing. Uptape, $50 billion to buy. There's a decent number, but not too big. This is, again, global equities, down tape $32 billion. It's that big up tape over the next 1 month. If we see stocks rallying, $253 billion to buy as the machines play catch up to the market. So now you have one factor here, but let's zoom into the S&P 500. And what do we see? Flat tape over the next week, $17 billion to buy. Up tape, $37 billion to buy. So these are some decent numbers. Look at this. In a down tape, there's still buyers at $1 billion. So what we're seeing is the machines have already sold down this market. But look at this. Flat tape next month, $37 billion to buy. Obviously, this is packed pretty early here. We see in the tape. Up tape, $84 billion. There's a solid number. Down tape, there's still buyers at $5 billion. So we do see some buying here. But what happens at the end of this week that changes everything for the market? Well, we're in the peak blackout period, and 95% of corporates are currently in their blackout window. They return from their blackout window on October 20th. That's Friday, and corporates will be very busy at the end of the year, and November and December are the two best months of the year for execution, with an average estimate of 5 billion volume-weighted average purchases per day to close out 2024. So what we're seeing here is a big resurgence in corporate buying coming out of the blackout window, and that's why this week, look for the shockwaves. We've got the Middle East conference, or Middle East conflict, not conference. Maybe it should be a conference. That would help stocks, but the conflict could send stocks down. But wait till Friday. When the blackout window ends, we see some of the buying kick in all the way through next week. And what do we know as we look here at Nomura? We're nowhere near a buy signal on them. We got some upside before we see anything from there. Same with kind of TD Securities. There's a little bit of buying as they hit a trigger point at 44.30. That's just above the current price level. So no problem. We'll pick up a little buying there. But companies like Nomura, they're a ways away. Let's take a look at our position, our screens here. We see the S&P 500. Momentum now is positive. This was a big shift here. We have 5 consecutive daily buy signals. Now, remember I told you, when we get a confirming signal on our reports, we have our machine positioning. We've seen this. This is our CTA-Timer Pro. There's a link in the description below. As with all our subscriptions, there's a 14-day money-back guarantee, so you can check it out. We told you, when we see the machine positioning flip higher and we see a confirming match of momentum shift on our Momentum Timer Pro report, which, by the way, you get 1 month free right now. There's still some coupon codes left. Get them before they're gone. So you get a 1 month free on that one. We now trigger a buy it open on October 10th at 432.94. I'm moving the stop loss down. 410 here. Friday closing 431. Downside target, but way at the same place as the stop loss level. So I'm giving some room to run here. And I want you to see this from a trading perspective is why. I want to get to Friday. I want to see what happens. I don't mind the downside risk here because if these corporates come back in and buy in a big way based on the data I've seen, then that's a positive for the market. Let's take a look here because we've got the upside target 442 on SPY. So that's a little bit higher right up into this zone here where we've seen some sellers. And so not a huge kind of target I'm looking at moving up, but somewhere right in that range, maybe even a little higher up to 450. But again, this week I'm not looking for much. I just don't want to see a huge sell-off, and if I do, that's why I dropped that stop loss level down to give it some room to run in case we get a drop down to the 200-day moving average. Because remember, you get a cross of a moving average from a sell-off, and then if it holds it, and it didn't quite hold it, but if it reconfirms, and it's kind of looking like it now, well, that is a bullish signal. We look down here at the RSI, it's at 46. We see a positive cross on the MACD coming out of oversold territory. This is exactly from a trading perspective. What you're seeing is the markets are kind of getting set up for these corporates to come out of their buyback blackout window. Let's take a look at QQQ. Momentum here also positive. 6 consecutive daily buy signals. Also got to buy it open on October 9th. We told you, same story. If we come up on seeing our CTA-Timer Pro report, buying out of that position, which it did, and the confirming signal on Momentum Timer Pro, going from a sell to a daily buy count of 1. That is what our most successful traders do. The ones that are using our reports, they're having and reporting massive amount of success when they use the two in tandem together. So I want you to see. So we've got this. I set the stop loss again. Set some margin here. Upside target 384. Downside target the 200-day moving average. Let's take a look at QQQ here and see what we've got. We're looking here. Look, there's lots of volume here, but notably what I'm really looking at is you see kind of this flagpole set up here. This is a bullish flag, and you see this chart pattern happen. There's consolidation going on here, and usually this starts to break out higher. You got some shorts up here, and this sends the NASDAQ potentially a whole lot higher. Remember, who are the biggest buyers in these blackout windows, or the corporates? It's the tech companies. They buy a ton of them. So again, you're seeing the market set up here to rally. This is a very bullish signal. RSI is validating it, the MACD is validating it, and that's why we've got that buy it open sitting on there. Now, how about the bond market? Everybody's deeply short. We've got a latest update from Nomura. We already knew this was going to be the case. You see all that red? Well, that means they're short the bond market at the maximum level. How about new update from Goldman? They're saying their CTAs are skewed to the buy side, and this is the largest number they've seen. So not just equities. Look at this on the bond. They estimate $394 billion. This is global bonds to buy and a big uptape. The CTAs are short, $289 billion. That is a 0% percentile rank, meaning they are max short versus a theoretical max long of 444. So this means they've got a lot of short covering to do, and they've sold $45 billion over the last month. Here in an uptape over the next week, we've got $59 billion to buy in global equities or global bonds. Flat tape, $15 billion to buy. Down tape, $5 billion to sell, showing they're pretty much maxed out on the sell side. Over the next month, look at this up tape on bonds, $394 billion. This is global bonds. That would actually be a huge boost if these machines came in and bought. But now, are we going to see this happen immediately? No, remember, it said it's got to be a big uptape, and this kind of is validated by TD Securities saying, here, look, wait a second, hold tight. We're like Nomura here. We're kind of maxed out at the downside, and we need to see a higher move before we trigger. So nothing coming from them right away. But let's take a look at our screens. We know at TLT, momentum has now turned positive. This is your long bond. RSI is at 44. MACD's got a positive cross. And what do we see now? One consecutive daily buy signal, momentum timer, bro. So we've got one count. That's what we want. What do we not have yet? And if you're a subscriber, you'll know about it this week, or when it happens, is you see the CTA here going from minus 100 short to minus 55% in buying. There is your confirming signal. But again, you've got to be a subscriber to see this. Or again, remember, you get a 14-day money back guarantee, so you can sign up and try it. This is going to likely trigger this week. Upside target is a 50-day moving average. Now, we've been showing you our recovery trade, so we're going to add another position when we get that confirming signal. Downside target back near the recent lows. Cost basis is still way out of whack, but I'm not worried. The inverted yield curve will play this trade out. And I want you to see, we encourage everyone to use stop losses. A lot of people forget, or they don't, and then they make bad decisions on their trades. We're showing you how, with our reports, you can recover from this. So here we can see the RSI up, like we said, 44. MACD positive cross coming deep out of that oversold territory. We know it's a 21-day moving average. It's been acting as a resistance. We need to see it break through there, but there's some open gaps of overnight trading that need to get filled, suggesting the 50-day moving average here in green is our next target. That's where you really pick up a little bit of selling here. You get some tailwind of these machines buying, and next thing you know, you can see a rally up here into that $99, $100 range. So a lot of upside potential for the long bond. I think it's going to be a big trade for many of you. But how about gold? I know a lot of you love gold. Well, we're back in gold now. How about buying above 1920? This from TD Securities, selling below 1900. So you're going to get a little bit of tailwind on the buy side here from TD. Look at this on GLD. Momentum remains positive. RSI is at 63. That is good. MACD positive cross. We have 3 consecutive daily buy signals on Momentum Timer Pro. We had confirming signals on our CTA program. Triggered a buy at open on October 12th, 174.06. I've got your stop loss set at 168.61. I'll show you why that's there. Upside target, 183. So you notice now we're picking up. This will be the third position. We got the S&P now. We've got the NASDAQ. We've got gold. And what do you think? You say, did you get the pick up the miners on your reports? Well, hang tight. You'll see. Let's check out gold here, because we've got our stop loss set. Let's zoom this back out to the 2-year chart. We've got our stop loss set right on support. That makes sense. Look at this on the 2-year volume profile. It's hit there. Now we see a beautiful topping pattern. It doesn't mean this can't rally, and that's why we're putting our upside target here around 183 range. We know the RSI just went vertical here, and of course we've got a positive cross on the MACD, so we're sticking with this. We have a buy it open again. What did we say on October 12th? That position is up, looking good for some rally move here again. If you get in these positions, if you're following reports, you already knew what to do. We showed you, we taught you. It's that easy. You now see 3 positive trades using our 2 reports. They can be yours as well. Links in the description below. Let's take a look at gold miners. I know many of you love that, and guess what? We got to buy it open here on October 10th. We get confirming, you know when gold triggers, the miners are probably there. And how did we know? 4 consecutive daily buy signals on Momentum Timer Pro, matching that trade with a buying signal on our CTA-Timer Pro, buying up off this position. That gave us the signal we wanted. Stop loss, 29.64. That is right above our next downside target of 26.62. Upside target, 30.53. This trade's positive too. I mean, really, you're looking at this saying, could it be that easy? Answer is yes, it actually can. That's what our subscribers say. I couldn't believe this. I've been trading, Steve, for 40 years, and wow, you've changed everything. This is so easy. So what are we looking here? Upside target we're seeing is 30.53. That's right here at the 200-day moving average. That's our first target. Again, you notice this looks like a topping pattern. It doesn't mean that it's over and done. We see what looks it is a bear trap. This is likely to rally, potentially up here into this volume profile line, but that makes for a nice trade. Once you get into positive position with your trade, be sure, if you haven't put a stop loss on, put it on there, throw a trailing stop on. Don't let your gains disappear. That is one of the key things you need to know. But now you see 3 or 4 positive trades. Let's take a look at the dollar, UUP. This thing, if you're looking for a reversal, that would be the symbol UDN. Now, I'm not saying you should do it just yet because we don't have the signal on it, because you've got to be a subscriber. You've got to see it as it happens. What have we told you? Our CTA report came off that 100% long. Now, it may flip back at some point. We'll find out. But when you see it sell off and you get a confirming sell signal on Momentum Timer Pro, so we don't have it yet, that's when you want to look at either short dollar or long UDN. So let's see, I've upped the upside target to 30.48. That is way up there, but it's these 58 consecutive daily buy signals. And we're maxed out on the 1, 3, and 6 month window. I mean, this is exactly what you want to look for if you want to find a reversal. Again, you can short the dollar or go look at UDN, and we'll look at that when time comes. We're going to pull up that position and add it here. So look at this dollar, massive rally. Can it go higher? It sure can. What did we say? 30, 50, 48. I mean, way up here. I just set the bar real high. If this thing's going to go, it's going to go way up here. And otherwise, we're looking for a reversal in this to pick up another trade. So all you're seeing here is how well these reports work together. Now let's talk about a recovery trade on platinum. Many of you said you're never going to get out of this one. Well, you'll wait and see. How about this? Momentum is negative. Momentum Timer Pro, 14 consecutive daily sell signals. So what do we want to see? A flip to the positive on that. We've currently got 3 positions. Friday's closing is at 81.36. We're upside down on this at 87.56. And I said, wait till you get confirming signals. So at this point, we're waiting for Momentum Timer Pro to flip. We're waiting to see the CTA come up off the short position. And that is what will add a position here. Another one. We'll just continue to dollar cost average in this and see where we go. Upside target is a 100-day moving average. Let's take a look at platinum here and see what's going on, because you'll notice it eventually does, kind of consolidate in these areas down here and takes off. It hasn't done it, but it's looking like it's trying to find support here. We saw momentum slow down, and now it's giving some early signs of starting to change. The MACD is starting to turn around here. If this takes off the 100-day, we're going to get a buy in here, and that may not get us exactly back to even, but the 100 days are our initial target. Our main target here looks up here to be right around 90.62. If it breaks through that, of course, the 200-day moving average. This thing's got some legs to it, but we'll see what happens, because remember, what is the opposite potential into this? The dollar going down. So that could be a huge catalyst for this trade. And one thing we think is also going to be fantastic for your trading account, that is the sponsor for today's show, and that is Brent Miller Energy. You can find them on the NASDAQ under the symbol BNRG. And again, they're a carbon-free thermal energy storage company. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you how we see their chart set up that could show a 31% gain. Now, you can find all their information on their website and everything in the pinned comment or description below. It's all there for you. Now, BGen is a patented high-temperature thermal energy storage unit stored in solid-state material, which is crushed rocks. They're charged electrically or thermally and deliver steam or hot air on demand. The sustainable TES technology enables emission reduction for power plants, industrial, and commercial facilities. It's clean, it's hybrid, it's modular, and get this, unlimited cycles. Now, from rocks to thermal energy storage, what they do is they crush those rocks. They put them in these thin metal cells they call B cells, and they're stacked into 40-foot modules, and they have electric heaters that are embedded, and the modules are assembled on site, and the structure is insulated and connected to a plant, and this is where the magic happens. Of course, let's take a look at their stock. What do we see here? We teach you about these supply zones. They're critical. And you notice, what do you see down here? Just around the 64-cent range, as low as 55 cents. Buyers step in. So anytime you see price dip down, what does that tell you? It's a supply zone because buyers show up. Now, what do you see above that? 2 purple lines. Where does that mean? That's where the sellers are at. There's your upside target right around the 100-day moving average. So you see the setup here. Now let's take a little deeper look. They handle grid services with substantial revenue streams for TES. What they do is they balance between electricity generation and electricity consumption. So power plants, they've got to generate electricity kind of all the time. And so when they have excess, well, they could pump it right into their product by Brent Miller Energy, store up that energy, and release it later during the peak time. And what this does is it gives grid flexibility and stabilization, demand side management, and utilization. This is a big one. Curtailed energy. And here you can see the largest TES system in the world is connected to a gas power plant with storage capacity up to 24 million megawatts, enables shifting energy from off-peak hours to peak hours, improving revenues from energy sales, and the power plant will generate additional revenue streams by improved response times to the grid. This is a fantastic deal. You can read more about this on their website. They even got a video about it, so check it out. Here we can see now, zooming into the 90-day chart, what do you see? Very clear accumulation here in the supply zone, and once all the shares are bought up, what do you normally see? A push up to the other sell zone. That is your 31% potential return. If it breaks out of there, well, obviously it can go higher, but that's the initial move you're looking for. Now, recently they reported numerous important catalysts that they believe are going to drive their company to commercial scale revenues. Again, you can find them on the NASDAQ under the symbol BNRG. They've got a term sheet to form a joint venture signed with European renewable energy developers, Green Energy Group, and Relied, leading companies to develop and display giga-scale renewable energy products worldwide. They're launching their BGen Zero, their new flagship product, which offers considerable improvements and serves our strategic focus to help replace and eliminate the use of fossil fuel boilers. They've received final government approval toward an approximately $3.7 million equipment purchase from Wilson Hospital, making what would be the first sale for BGen Zero, which was launched in August of this year. They're also under advanced discussions with global renewable energy giant to identify and develop 9 joint projects totaling 2 gigawatts of TS capability. Synergy would bring Brenmiller's storage technology together with the partners' financing, construction, and renewable generation capabilities. They're also entering the renewable energy market in India, and they've inaugurated the largest TES system and production plant in the world in Dimona, Israel, at capacity. The facility is phenomenal. Again, you can read more about this all on their website. And here we zoom in to the 30-day chart. It's so clear. You see accumulation coming down here. People are buying the stock. You see the volume profile line right around 65 cents a share. That's where the buyers are at. Once they've accumulated all the supply, you generally see stock prices rally. There's your 31% potential gain for Brenmiller Energy under the symbol BNRG. And again, as with all companies we feature on our show, you're under no obligation to purchase their stock. Be sure to do your own research before placing any trades. And with that, I'm Steve Van Metre. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being fans. Bye now.